Welcome viewers to the Personal Injury Law Show. My name's Tony Carbone, lawyer with 25 years experience in personal injuries. Next to me I've got John Carantis. How are you, Johnny?
Good evening, Tony. Good evening, viewers.
You're an accredited specialist, so that makes you like a surgeon.
An accredited specialist in personal injury law, Tony.
And I've got a public liability expert next to me. Nuncio Tatalia, how are you, Nunc?
Tony, John, how are you?
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoying it?
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Thanks to you guys, I have to start wearing ties. Now, look, the real excuse for you is it's pretty cold where we're filming, so I decided to wear a tie. In summer, who knows? Anyway, look, what's in the news, Johnny? There's plenty.
Tony.
But this is very contentious. This is something I'm going to flick over to you because it's about WorkSafe agent binning files. In other words, they've chucked them in the bin, is that right?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
There you go, Johnny. What have
Tony,
they done?
CGU have been slugged $5 million in regards to not paying weekly payments of compensation to injured workers.
What were they doing? They were hiding the invoices, were they?
Tony, the workers had reached their limit in what they had to do for the month, in the first week of that month, and they were just simply putting files in storage cabinets, Tony.
But they were getting bonuses for paying it promptly on the second month.
Exactly.
That's extortion, fraud and everything else.
They have been fined $2.8 million, Tony. CGU has been fined $2.8 million in order to repay $2.5 million to workers.
And to think every time the clients are ringing me saying, I can't get this paid, I can't get that paid, and we know what the problem is.
What this just solidifies that workers out there, if you're not receiving your weekly payments, get onto the phone with the agent straight away. Why you have to question them, why aren't you giving me my weekly payments? And also ring up the Victorian Ombudsman and report that 1 day late in weekly payments, report it to the Victorian Ombudsman.
Look, can I just say this? You've really got to commend the Ombudsman and also WorkSafe for doing what they did. They actually fined the insurer, so that's a positive step. It's
a positive step, but it's an unbelievable circumstance look, we're talking about beneficial legislation, people that are on sometimes, Tony, $200 or $300 a week.
John,
that's all they're living on.
We might have to make this a subject of another episode.
It's close to my heart, Tony, and I'm just shocked at that report.
The other one I want to talk about, tonight we're going to be talking about public liability in general, all sorts of accidents happening in not workplaces, out in the public, supermarkets and footpaths and race courses and everything else.
Basically everything outside of work accidents and transport accidents.
This example I got now is a horse. Do you remember the Warrnambool Carnival where the horse just bolted through the jockey and then just kept going and then jumped a very, very high fence and injured X number of people?
Yes, very, very serious injuries, and also I think a lot of people just missed it by millimetres, didn't they, Tony?
They did. Nuncio, is there liability here? Because the horse did jump. It's an unusual occurrence.
Look, it is, Tony, but at the same time, look, I think a lot needs to be investigated with respect to the setup of the premises. If it's not in line with regulations, with other racetracks and the like, then arguably there is a case, but that needs to be investigated.
Well, just one thing straight up, Nuncio, the height of the fence.
It sounded like a rogue horse to me.
Was it high enough? But was the fence high enough?
It was a high fence.
Well, the horse jumped it, Tony.
I think it was nearly a metre and a half, nearly 2 metres.
Was the horse on something, Tony? Why did it jump it?
All I can say is that your average horse weighs 500 kilograms.
Exactly.
Which is half a tonne.
It should not have occurred, Tony. It should not have occurred.
Anyway, it's bizarre. So that's going to obviously be investigated because I think there was quite a few injured people there.
But Tony, I like your next story.
The plankers. Now, this thing about these plankers, fair dinkum.
What is it, Tony?
I've never seen anything like it.
I can't understand it. What is it, Tony?
This new craze, I don't know where it started, but you got people, look at this. You got this guy on top, what is that, a lamppost? What's he doing?
That's just plain idiocy, isn't it, Tony?
It is,
crazy.
It is.
It's just stupidity at its finest.
Well, the reason why I've raised this is, apart from the fact that you want to warn your kids and other people, and most of these are adults, don't do anything silly like this because there's already been a couple of deaths, I think.
Well, that person in Queensland that apparently fell off
hotel room. Hotel balcony. It's about 8 or 9 levels high.
8 or 9 floors.
The reason why I'm raising it is that if these people are coming into your buildings or premises, and you keep an eye out for them, because if there's potentially a claim against you, if you've got very low security or no security, or no way of keeping them out.
Or knowledge of it. If you know that they're doing it and you've done nothing about it, arguably you are at risk.
But if you've got a place where you just walk straight in and start hanging off balconies and that, I think potentially there could be a claim against the occupier.
At some stage there will be, Tony, I'm sure.
All right, let's get on to this topic of public liability. These days, with the amendments to the Wrongs Act, and that occurred back in 2003, you cannot sue in a situation outside the workplace and transport accidents unless you've got a significant injury. Now, significant injury means you've got to have more than 5% under the AMA guides for addition. What are the AMA guides, Nuns?
Basically, they're just a form of medical guides which assess impairments for different types of injuries, and doctors are specialised in them. And look, they're a strange, I suppose, strange mix. But it's a hard test at best at times. But
It's a tough guide.
John, it doesn't
It's a tough guide, isn't it?
Yeah,
More
it
than
is.
5% doesn't sound like a lot.
Oh, under the guides, it can be very high, Tony.
I've had an instance where a gentleman had back surgery and didn't get over the 5%.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah, really, Tony.
But what could you claim the medication, stomach problems, constipation?
You only need you could, but in this instance, didn't succeed.
Okay. Well, can I just take it one step further? The 5% is only in relation to general damages. What's general damages?
General damages is your pain and suffering. If you sustain an injury, it's just the general consequences that flow from that injury. So your daily limitations,
Pain and suffering and
restrictions.
loss of enjoyment of life,
Of
John.
course, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Now, if you got that, the next thing you got to prove is negligence. What's negligence, John?
Negligence, Tony. It's a breach of a duty of care that some party owes to you.
Do they owe you a duty of care?
If there's reasonable foreseeability that their actions would affect you, Tony.
Look, the real thing in these cases is, as a rule, most people are owed a duty of care in most instances. And really what you're looking at is the next consideration, which is breach and causation. And they're things we'll discuss shortly. But Nuncio, why don't we go to the case of Hawkesbury Council? Can you tell us?
Yeah, just briefly, Hawkesbury is a case in which a lady was walking to her car on a footpath and tripped over a displaced footpath. I think it was about 4 to 5 centimetres at the time, and sustained injuries to her right hip and left arm, from what I call. And basically, the reason why she fell, she said, is that she couldn't see the displacement due to the fact there was trees that were overhanging the footpath and created a shady area.
So, Nuncio, this displacement, we're talking about quite an obvious type of risk, aren't we here?
Look, you normally would say that, but in this instance, the court didn't find that it was an obvious risk.
Just on that issue there, John, we'll come back to it, what obvious risk means. Viewers, please stay tuned, don't go away. We go into a sponsor's break. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.